Hey Planet Earth, Untamed Druid again, coming at you live with the 8th installment. We're calling this one Eternity. So 8 is a little special. It's got 4 permutations instead of 3. Most of them are sticking with 3, but you get the 7 and 1, which is the Mortal of Time. So that really just emphasizes, what the last video was about, the 7. That the false king, at the end of his life looks around and realizes, I wasn't the king of anything, right? I felt on top of the world. I had everything that I could have wanted, and yet I never achieved actual happiness, and I don't know that it actually exists. Yeah, essentially, eternity proves everything wrong. It proves all of our false understandings about everything wrong, because it just keeps going, and we can believe that we're on top until we die, and we're obviously not on top, and only then will we accept that we weren't the most dominant, or the coolest, or the fastest, or whatever ego trip you happen to be on. Next is the 6 and the 2. Intuition is dualistic, so they're the idea of good and bad exists even when we're being intuitive, right? So really understanding that following your intuition can be a bad thing, and realizing you have to exist again for eternity. You have to exist in the 8. So your intuition is not just a save all. It's not just do what you want and then that's it, and that's all you could do, so you just did what you want. It's really understanding that dualism is the underlying premise of decision making, and basically unfettered gratification is not what is meant by that's not what I'm recommending. I'm definitely more recommending the idea of thinking constantly about every decision that you make, and really owning it and taking responsibility for it. Yeah, that's the 6 and the 2. The 5 and the 3, man is locked in the world. So man, regardless of how far he evolves, woman, regardless, the individual is locked in the 3rd dimension, right? So regardless of how sagely you become, the Dalai Lama is still a person. The Pope is still a person. I don't know, whatever person you want to venerate. Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Katy Perry, or Will Smith, or whoever is the person that you think is the epitome. They're not. They're just a person, and they will die, just like everybody else. And that's unfortunately what eternity draws out. We can have these great heroes, great figures that we worship and believe to be God, and then when they die, we are proven wrong, because they are not God, because they died. So yeah, 8 is really, 8 is my number. If you add up my birthday, if you collapse it into a single number, my number is 8. So 8 really represents the 8 is the what is it, what's it called, amplifier, I believe that's what the 8 is, and 8 amplifies everything that goes through it. So eternity amplifies what you put into it. So if you act negatively into eternity, you become stuck in that for the rest of eternity. So if you want to think of hell as being a place on earth, hell is essentially when you're stuck in a repetition that you initiated yourself, and you have no will really to change. you believe that everybody else is wrong and that you could just keep plowing ahead doing the exact same thing you've always been doing, and that everybody's just wrong and stupid. And that sounds like hell to me. So, yeah, man is locked on the earth. So instead of, not acknowledging that earth can be heaven makes it hell. Not acknowledging that we can all just work together and make this world great without needing anybody to say that we can, or, oh yeah, that's okay. You can go ahead and save the planet now. Oh, thank you. Thank you. If you would have said no, I wouldn't have done it. I'm very much reliant on your approval. That none of that is good. So kind of got lost there. I went too far into my insults and forgot my point. So, and then you got your 4 plus 4, which is just elements plus elements. You just got an element party, matter interacts with matter, so people break down, things break down, rocks destroy windows, different basic things like that. So, how the elements interact is displayed throughout eternity. So, yeah, eternity is really the stage in which all of physical existence happens. There's a beginning and an end, and we exist in the now, which is the current. It's the eternal moment. So everything before and everything after are basically the beginning and the end. And those things are unknowable, and we constantly live in the middle of the beginning and end. And the concept of the beginning and the end is that eternity. So eternity essentially is pretty dualistic, and if you really do look into the numerology, you'll understand that you can flip the roles, put the 0 next to the 9 and go through like that, and you can reevaluate basically your understandings, and you can overlap different amounts of understandings because of the unlimited amounts of connections that exist in the real world. So you can basically take this as far as you want to, as long as you have a consistent basis or understanding of what the 1 through 9 is, and then you can apply whatever your understanding of numerology is upon other things, and then elements interact, the 4 and the 4. By doing that, you refine your understanding of the world, and if you're wrong, that's Gnosticism. You got to change your mind. So yeah, and then I've got this little ditty written down here, so sorry if I messed up. The individual must confront their limit. The limit which applies to all is the immense vastness of time. All exists through eternity. For the perfection of the individual to take root, motivation must exist beyond eternity. As eternity is the timeline, the beginning and the end, we exist in the middle, the timeline of perpetual existence. Eternity is the timeline of perpetual existence. Any concepts that fall within the duality of eternity, life and death, up and down, poor and rich, cold and hot, any this or that exists in this physical world prevents the perception of that duality, of those opposites. Perceiving those things as opposites directly prevents the individual from being inwardly directed / motivated / directing themselves. So accepting that things like hot and cold are opposites, instead of cold is a lack of energy and hot is the presence of energy, so not really the opposite. It's just like natural and then engaged. So really removing that sense of oh, so yeah, anything that falls, basically what you should be striving for should be something that should not be attainable in this world. Because if you're shooting for something that's attainable in this world, as we all know, once you get what you're shooting for, who cares? You know, yeah, I got what I wanted. Now I'm bored and I want something else. You know, it's like, so if you don't overshoot, you know, you're never going to get something that doesn't exist in this world. Okay, but if your goal is always beyond this world, then what you get in this world will be genuine. You'll probably care about it more, and you'll probably be more giving. You'll be more ready to part with things. Essentially, the concept of eternity is a representative of the dualism that's set up, that we're all constantly participating in. Eternity is a representative of that. So, just freeing yourself from the dualism, as emphasized, at the beginning of this whole video, montage, the second Untamed video, we're talking about dualism, and here it is again. 8 is just 4 twos, and so it's just dualism. So it's like, whoa, 8 is just made up of dualism. So it's basically saying that the physical world is made of good and bad, and the individual can't really know what is good and bad unless they listen to themselves, and listening to anyone but yourself, you don't really know what is good and bad. You just know what others want you to do, so listening to others prevents you from being able to actually know things. Our reliance on people that aren't ourselves to do things, to know things, to be things, just being like, I don't have to know that, that's not my job. Ew. That's somebody else's job. I do this. I sit here and press these buttons. I don't need to know that. It's like, well, why don't you just know that? Why do you limit your reality to the things that you need to know? It's like, how can you expect to succeed or prosper or be happy or anything if you're going to limit what is okay for you to interact with? You're like, oh, no, that's not me. That's somebody else. I'm this person. It's like, well, you're either, set in your ways, or you're self-limiting because you don't see the benefit of you, gaining new knowledge, and locking yourself into this eternal, basically locking yourself into hell, not allowing yourself to acquire new thoughts about things, and not from somebody else, definitely not from somebody else, but allowing yourself to be interested in thoughts other than the thoughts that you already have. That's really hopefully what I'm encouraging, by making this whole video series. It's not really supposed to be me telling a whole bunch of people, hey, everybody listen to me and listen to my interpretation of these things. It's more of an emphasis on, like, everybody's got their own interpretation, and we, really communicating your own individual interpretation is what we're all supposed to be doing, and it's not that I'm right and you're wrong. It's not that you're right and I'm wrong. It's that I'm interested in what other people's observations are, how they see things, and just genuine, open, non-threatening communication, and that's, to me, really as best as I can embody the role of an 8, being an 8 myself, being the amplifier, just really trying to get people to get together and have conversations. and not to amplify our negativity towards each other, but really to amplify our, the fact that we will all die, so we got to face that. And that either means we should all kill each other right now in a huge, a wicked brawl, or, Armageddon, Valhalla, kill and be reborn type situation, or there's something else. We can learn to get along with each other by not forcing each other to continuously just lie and do shit that, we know that nobody wants to do, and stop pretending like, oh, well, I mean, are you going to do it or not? I can just get somebody else, get rid of that whole ethos, from society. That's what I'm interested in. And it's not everybody listening to me and doing exactly what I'm telling them. That won't solve anything, because then I'm the new, dictator. And it's I want everyone to, from within, decide what you're going to do, and even if it's bad, even if it's a silly mistake or, something that you maybe shouldn't have done, if you came up with it yourself, it's good. And if it's not because of society, if it generally is something sustainable that comes from yourself, there's nothing, there's nothing that the world can claim from you, like that's to me, when something is genuinely your own, just as original as possible, and there's a whole, claim that originality doesn't exist anymore, that it's not possible to have an original thought. It's all been done before. I think that's the Bare Naked Ladies, but just that whole mindset, it just really robs people, and it's something that's going to be constantly getting in your way. As someone who's trying to become untamed, it's all been done before. You're not special. You can't do anything unique, so just stop trying. That's a really popular modern message. You can't do something that other people, everything's been done before, so don't try to be a unique individual. It's like, well, that's just literally saying, just buy into collectivism. You can't be anything. You're just like everybody else. There's no distinction at all. So, why try to make yourself more distinct? And what I am recommending is as close to an opposite as you could be, I would say. It's more of a, it's literally be as questionable as possible, be as original as possible, try to be your own person, do things how you want to do them, just live your life as if it's your own, and as if, people getting mad at you, people being upset with you, see that as more of a reflection of this person who's mad at you, their lack of ability to see you as a person and not just something, or someone that's going to benefit them in the physical world immediately. If someone's getting mad at you for anything, they're trying to use you, and they're upset that you're resisting being used. There's no real reason to get mad at anyone for anything, unless of course they commit violence or do something like that. But if it's anything lesser than that, and you just didn't listen to somebody, you just didn't like allow someone outside of you to push you around and force you into some kind of submission, there's no reason to feel bad about that. And that's where the individual has their strength, and again, society is gonna beat you down, so it's not that this stuff's easy. It's just that it's more important than, probably anything else that anybody's doing. We can develop the third world. We can send people to Mars. We can, invade the moon and have moon battles. We can do all that stuff. But like, if we're not going to change how we interact with each other and how we interact with ourselves first, if we're not going to empower ourselves, and if we're not going to listen to ourselves, and if we're going to listen to whoever for whatever reason that isn't you, because you can't trust yourself, because you can't know anything, you know, the more you're going to feed into that, the more powerless you're going to feel, because you're stripping yourself of the ability to know things. And yeah, that's really my 8 message. And I'll just finish off with this. I think it's Aleister Crowley. It might be Aristotle, but I heard it in a Michael Sarian interview I was just watching. He said, so I'm not sure who actually originally said this, but balance every thought with its opposite to destroy illusion. And yeah, I will just leave it there. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace.